Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, January 6th. We'll talk about weather whiplash. Temperatures spiked early this morning ahead of the Arctic frontal system into the upper 50s and will drop nearly 60 degrees over the next 18 to 24 hours or so from the upper 50s to near zero here in the Philadelphia region. The Arctic frontal system is now working its way off the East Coast, and an amazing front with strong gusty winds ahead of it, some heavy downpours. Now temperatures will drop all day, reaching below freezing in most of the I-95 corridor by early evening, and then way down near zero late tonight. Here's the very latest temperature pattern across the nation from coolweather.com. 20 below zero across a wide area from North Dakota across Minnesota into Wisconsin. Temperatures right now are about 15 below near Chicago, 20 below near Madison, Wisconsin. Indianapolis, the last reading was about 13 below, which is their coldest reading since January of 1994. Not since January of 1994 have the big cities of New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. been below zero at the same time. And there is a slight possibility for that to happen late tonight. Temperatures will definitely go down to near zero or below zero in many of the I-95 corridor locations, especially suburban locations, late tonight, early tomorrow, and then again late tomorrow night into early Wednesday. The temperatures will again drop to near zero in many I-95 corridor locations as a deep freeze will last from tonight right into Wednesday. Well, here's an interesting look at the 24-hour temperature change. This is from the Penn State eWall site. Just a dramatic rise in temperatures ahead of the front, yielding as high as 55 degrees warmer this morning at this hour compared to 24 hours ago. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Arctic front, as much as a 45-degree drop in temperatures from this morning compared to 24 hours ago. And again, we mentioned earlier that the Philadelphia airport actually peaked at 59 degrees a few hours ago, and they'll drop nearly 60 degrees to near zero over the next 18 to 24 hours. So all of this large negative numbers will certainly translate to the East Coast this time tomorrow morning, as we will be dramatically colder. Temperatures have already peaked in the big cities along the I-95 corridor and will drop sharply for the rest of the day. Well, here's a current look at the surface map, and here is that strong Arctic front, one of the strongest fronts seen in years, again with tremendous temperature drops behind it on the order of 50 to 60 degrees here in the Mid-Atlantic I-95 corridor over the next 18 to 24 hours or so. This front is already through Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. Winds have shifted to the northwest. Temperatures have peaked and will drop sharply through the rest of the day. It's now working its way through the New York City region, and they too will have sharply dropping temperatures during the afternoon. Again, the bitter cold air has already reached Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, 13 below last hour at Indianapolis, around 20 below at Madison, and 22 below in the Minneapolis, Minnesota region at the last hour. Well, this deep freeze will last here in the Mid-Atlantic region from tonight into early Wednesday. Again, one of the coldest air masses in 20 years in much of the nation, not only here in the Mid-Atlantic region, but also for the Great Lakes, Upper Midwest, Northern Plains. This is the last night's Zero-Z GFS model run forecast map for this evening. We'll look at 12-hour increments, jump into Tuesday morning, then Tuesday evening, and finally Wednesday morning. By this evening, the colder air is still flooding the Mid-Atlantic region, not quite reaching the coldest values. What we see here are thickness values in the lower and middle part of the atmosphere. It's the thickness values of the 1,000 millibar to 500 millibar layer typically has a good correlation with the temperatures, and the lower the thickness, the lower the temperature, and these thickness values are dropping even at the early evening hours, reaching a bottom by early tomorrow morning. In fact, let's jump ahead to Tuesday morning forecast map. And here's the forecast map for tomorrow morning from the GFS model run. By this time, the 498 thickness seen right here is not too far upstream from Philadelphia. The 504 thickness cutting right through the Washington, D.C. area. These are thickness values not seen around here in many, many years. Again, this air mass rivals the one in January of 1994. That winter, a lot of people here in the Mid-Atlantic region still remember as one of the worst ice storm winters that we've had in a long, long time, the 93-94 winter. Well, there was a couple of different Arctic outbreaks that featured some extreme cold, and one of those was in January, around January 19th, 18th, 19th or so of 1994. This particular air mass probably is the coldest one since that time period back in 1994. Again, the peak of the core of the coldest air will be right on top of the Mid-Atlantic region tomorrow morning. Let's now jump ahead to tomorrow night. Still brutal cold tomorrow night, perhaps just a few degrees milder than what can be expected later on tonight. By tomorrow night, the 516 thickness cuts right across the Pennsylvania Maryland border, so the thickness values rise a little bit. Sometimes that can be deceiving. This high pressure is moving towards the north and east and will be sitting on top of the region by Wednesday morning. In fact, let's finally take a look at the Wednesday morning forecast map. And here it is, high pressure sitting on top of the region, and sometimes with clear, calm conditions, as will be the case tomorrow night into early Wednesday, thanks to that high pressure sitting on top of the region. Temperatures can get just about as low as when the thickness values are even at a lower value. So we'll have brutal cold, a deep freeze from tonight into the early part of Wednesday. Moderation in temperatures come during the second half of the week, and with that transition from the brutal cold to the milder conditions expected for the weekend, there is likely to be a period of snow and ice Thursday night into early Friday. Once that passes on by, indeed, it will turn milder this week, and 50 degrees is possible again along the I-95 corridor for Sunday. Looks like that thaw will last for about a week or so. More Arctic air outbreaks are certainly in the offing for the middle part and the latter part of January. So a deep freeze from tonight into Wednesday. That's it for now for the SIWeather.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.